I did it. Oh my gosh, I'm starting over again. I was in the middle of the video. The UPS guy pulled up and I pressed pause to get my package. And you have to press pause to restart the video. No, I actually ended my video, which means delete it, start over. Here I am. Welcome to the video. It's been a while. I've been very busy. I haven't had time to sit down and chat with you and present something. Today, I'm going to squeeze it in between visits and between UPS deliveries. If you go to my blog posting, my latest one, you can follow along. I'm going to talk about my blog posting and why it's there and where it's been leading me. If you go to createpurpose.com. So if you've been hanging around me long enough, you've heard me say, I wanted to become a chiropractor because I wanted to stop people from falling through the cracks. And a lot of times people just associate chiropractic with back pain, which is fine. But I'm going to tell you, it gets pretty old with me because there's more to you than back pain. More. You're a human being with lots of wants and desires and needs and concerns and worries. So it's not back pain. It's your life. What's going on in your life? So don't just compartmentalize it to, oh, if I just get me out of this pain so I can go back out in the world and do what I'm supposed to do. Because back pain is a clue about bigger things. And we've been taught to think small. And that part of my thesis is to stop thinking small. Think big, because you deserve it. You deserve a whole lot more than what you're getting right now. And maybe this blog posting will explain things a little bit better for you. Let's see how it goes. So back in 1995, I wanted to learn more about the mind-body connection so I could help people see a way out, a newer option to health freedom. So being a youngster in my 20s, I said, wow, this is something completely new to me. Nobody told it to me before. I felt like it was a secret that I'd unearthed. That may not be true, but back at my age and my state of mind in the early days, I said, this is awesome. Why don't I already know about it? Why didn't I already know about it? My parents were keeping it a secret from me. My parents didn't know. So makes you wonder. And I said, I want to dive in, and this is my life. This is where my passion is leading me. If you remember, I recalled how bad I felt about a client named David. He represents just about everyone who has felt stuck in their lives. He told the psychiatrist that he was in, phone's ringing, hang on. Yes, I hit the right button this time. I didn't ruin the entire video. So he told the psychiatrist that he was in physical pain. This was back when this video may not get finished. I'm going to have somebody pulling up in about 5 minutes. Let's see how far we get. So David told the psychiatrist he was in physical pain. This was back when I worked in mental health. And I was in the appointment with him. He said, I'm in pain. And he described it, where it was. And the psychiatrist said, that's not psychiatry. That's not in my scope of practice. You will have to go to your physician and have tests. And then come back. Come back at your next appointment. So that's exactly what he did. He followed instructions. He went back to his family physician, had tests, labs, whatever, blood work, maybe even x-rays. And he came back to his appointment with us and said, well, there's nothing abnormal. And I was told it's all in my head and to come back to the psychiatrist. So here we are again, back where he started. The shuffle game, back and forth. Just, I can't help you, go somewhere else. Then and back then, where else could he go? What was available to him with his current state of health, his current state of his insurance? There's a whole lot of things going on. And I said to myself, he's falling through the cracks. What's the point? What are we doing here? We're just going to go back and forth like a teeter-totter and just whatever. As long as you're doing something and we look good doing it, it doesn't matter whether we're getting results or not. Okay. He still had pain. Was it really in his head or not? That was something I wanted to understand and learn better and pursue. And so I said, what else is out there? If he's not able to find it, I need to find it. I felt really useless. And I said, there's got to be a better way to reach people, to reach their mind, their body, their soul. What can we do? So I learned about chiropractic, and it excited me. And I said, how come I didn't know this? How come my parents didn't know this? I don't know. My health is pretty good. Didn't have any complaints, and you only do something when you have a complaint, right? And so I learned that chiropractic had a huge effect on the nervous system. This is back before chiropractic college, when I was just doing my own research and volunteering at a chiropractor's office. So I wasn't sure how. I had no idea how it impacted the nervous system, but I knew it did. And I also found out that there were chiropractic hospitals back in the day, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and they were very successful with mental disorders. You're not going to find that. You've got to dig deep, deep, deep in the history books. It's just not everyday knowledge. People don't know that. And I think the buildings are gone. So not only are the doctors gone, the buildings are gone. The research may not be gone. But I linked in this blog article previous articles that I've published about the mental hospitals, the chiropractic sanitariums, as they were called back then, and with some photos. So take a look at that. Once I made it to chiropractic college, I patiently waited to learn how the mind and body connection worked. I'm here, yay, finally. But I only got bits and pieces here and there. The neurology was very interesting, but nobody connected it to what I wanted to know. It was just, here's the anatomy of the brain. It really didn't give me applicable information. It was, here's the brain, this is what it looks like, this is what it looks like when we cut it up, and you're looking at it in the anatomy lab. What was I supposed to do with that information? I'm waiting, I'm patient. Maybe the next semester I will learn something. So, as I said, bits and pieces with no real cohesion. It was like talking about that crazy uncle, just whispering, oh yeah, we know the brain does this, and there's very, very tiny studies about this affecting this, but it was just whispering, that's all. We're not going to go there. And I'm like, why? Why don't you want to go there? This could really help people. It could change their lives. No, can't go there. I was so hopeful. Still patient, still waiting. Back then I should have suspected something. Yeah? And now that I think back, I probably shouldn't have skipped out on the psychology class. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I had transfer credit because I already had a master's degree in clinical counseling, and I said, I don't want to sit in this class, so I transferred out. And what did I do while my classmates were sitting in class? I caught up on my sleep, of course. I didn't have to get up early. Woohoo! That was exciting to me. Back then, I thought that was just great. I already learned this psychology. I can sleep in, and I don't have to worry about it. Good or bad, I don't know. Was that the right attitude to have as a college student? And I wonder now, did my instructor ever make any connections between chiropractic and mental wellness? Do you think that was presented in class? I don't know, because I missed it. None of my classmates came up to me with excitement over the class. They really didn't. This is what they said. Oh, Lisa, you're so lucky. You're so lucky to have to not sit through this class. So they were jealous of me. As it turns out, I taught the class myself a couple of years later after I graduated. Is that just bizarre or what? I was hired to provide counseling service to the students, and then this opening came up, and I filled in because they needed a psychology professor for this one class. So, was I a good teacher? I really had my doubts, really. I provided the basics. The prior teacher told me what was being taught at the time. So I taught the typical lingo of mental health disorders, and they were classified in the Merck manual, so I used the Merck manual as the text. I tried to give examples from my past experience as a chiropractor working with people and talking about what they presented with. I played a video about the limbic system and the brain reward cascade and addictions and chiropractic. This was a fascinating topic to me, so I presented that to my class. And this was information I learned on my own. I went to a seminar later on after chiropractic college because I wanted to further my knowledge about the mind-body connection. And that was a very eye-opening, exciting seminar. So I presented that at the class. I brought in a guest speaker who spoke about domestic violence. And I also explained to the class that your patients were going to present to you with all kinds of family issues, life issues. They're going to talk about their mental state, their worries, and they're going to even break down and cry in your office. And you should be able to handle that without fear, because really they feel comfortable in your office. They enjoy the atmosphere. It's different. It's different from other clinical environments. So that was part of what I taught. My students did not hesitate to complain to me about the course and complain to me about me. They did not like the writing assignment. Like me, they didn't want to do much. I get it. While I slept during my class time because I didn't have to take the class, they wanted to get an easy A. I understand. I feel for them. I have empathy. They wanted to let their hair down for a while. Every semester is hard work, and in the final semester, there's heavy burnout. I get it. Okay, back again. So, where did I leave off? Okay, so I mentioned how the students did not hesitate to complain to me about the course. So just prior to joining the counseling staff, I don't know why I'm going on these tangents, but they're kind of fun. I went through a ridiculous interview process with a room full of various teachers, admins, and students who grilled me endlessly. I thought it was a bit of an overkill. Then that's when I dealt with the disrespectful rudeness of the students once I was teaching, after I got hired. My son was born and I never went back. I washed my hands of it. I really thought it would be cool to teach in a college, and turns out the idea in my head was a whole lot nicer than reality. So what really strikes me is the continued separation between physical health and mental health still to this day. Patients come to me and talk the typical talk of back pain. They are trained very well, and I don't like it. We need to reverse that thinking. They'll talk about their back pain, neck pain, sciatic, and how they slept wrong. And no, you do not sleep wrong. If you want to know what that means, come to my office and I'll talk to you about that. We haven't really evolved, really. Are we any better, smarter, healthier? So that tells me the brainwashing is thick. Sorry for my sarcasm. But each new patient comes to me knowing the same language. So it's there, it's in society. That's what everybody just thinks about. If you have back pain, go to the chiropractor. So it's always about pain. Stiffness, headaches, the typical terms, arthritis, discs, Pinched nerves. Is there really a pinched nerve? I don't know. Unless you've been skydiving and you hit the ground, there really isn't a pinched nerve. I'll tell you about all that in the office. But I guess it's a starting point. You got to start somewhere. I can introduce people to a newer way of looking at their bodies, a different understanding of their physiology. Remember, physiology is not pathology. That other approach, that other healthcare approach, calls normal physiology a pathology. We've made a disease out of what's normal. What God gave us, the way God created the functioning within us, that other approach turns it into disease and gives it all these disease labels. So there's all that negativity. I'm so over it. It's time. Oh, there's a little typo error in there. I'll fix it. There's time for people to become mature health seekers. Get out of the childish outlook. We're not children anymore. Let's be adult, mature. If you want to think better, if you want to feel better, you've got to think better and you've got to do better. So don't feel like I'm criticizing you, because I was in the same place. And I still am at times, but we need to think better. If you're getting the same result, doing the same thing, you know the rest of the story. We have to understand how body responses are interwoven with the brain's sophisticated sensory system. It isn't that complicated once you break it down. And that I enjoy thoroughly, helping people figure that out. When I see the light bulb go off, that is really great. And it's empowering. You empower yourself with this added understanding. But you've got to step into a different arena. And people just don't like different. So this is very fertilized ground. It's very cultivated into our brain. There's a brain block there. When I say brain block, that means something new won't get through. A new idea does not get through. And that is because of very strong wiring of the brain. And each generation has continued to rewire in that manner. That negativity, each generation is part of it. Can we unravel that? Can we have a mature thought about our physical bodies and our mental health? Oh, I hope so. Please, please. Why are we still on the short-term relief bandwagon? People want that one and done quick fix. They want to plug in that one intervention, just one, plug it in and be done with it. As if you're a car. You're not a car. You know, the parts are interchangeable, but we're not cars. Nope, nope, nope. Here's how far we've gotten with that mind-body connection. This is where we're at. To me, it's not progress, but here's where we're at. People have studied meditation. That is one mind-body type of approach, and they use meditation to lower blood pressure. And it's been promising. It's very fruitful. Yes, you can lower blood pressure, but it's not that simple. We're always looking for simple, which I understand. And even your own brain wants to be concise and quick and resolve problems in a speedy manner. But we can't just say meditation lowers blood pressure. We've got to say the time you set aside to learn meditation techniques, you're using that prefrontal cortex, the time you set aside to sit quietly and take yourself away from whatever the stress is, that's not good for you. When we take the time and the practice, that is what really matters. That's part of the process. So the other side that I don't like is we're still talking about a disease process. We're calling high blood pressure bad. In that other healthcare approach out there that calls high blood pressure a pathology, a bad, terrible thing. And if you've talked to me or been in my office often enough, you're going to know that high blood pressure is high blood pressure. That's just what it is. It's a function of the nervous system, and you've got to understand why. Why is it functioning at that point? It's not a disease, it's just an activity. Okay? So, I linked a short article about Dr. Herbert Benson. He has perfected the technique for meditation in order to lower blood pressure. It is cool stuff. It's very useful. And but that's as far as we've gotten. We've let it fall flat on its face. We've let it fail. It's still a failure. As much as I want to give kudos to Dr. Herbert Benson, it's still a failure because it's a failure of thinking about the body. It is a good start, right? We got to start somewhere. But the article I posted really sounds promising. But the marketing of high blood pressure medicine is huge. And I looked up some statistics. It's scary huge. High blood pressure is a moneymaker. It really is. And the mind-body thinking is deliberately set up to fail. We'll only go so far. We'll say, it's like we're entertaining it. Oh yeah, that's really nice. But guess what? There's money to be made in the high blood pressure business, in the medication business. So we just say, oh, that's really nice, great. How many doctors have told you about the Herbert Benson meditation approach? If you're going to the doctors right now and they're constantly berating you for that white coat syndrome, no, you really don't have white coat syndrome, you really have a disease. How many of them say, have you tried meditating? Have you gone to this website? No. So when we poo-poo that mind-body approach, that means we don't give it any room in the brain. That way we don't have to even consider it. We can just keep resorting to the medical toolbox. Many of the mind-body studies that have been done at the Benson Henry Institute, which is associated with Massachusetts General Hospital, are very small. These studies, small populations, like 10 to 30 people at one time are studied. Or the studies are incomplete. They'll start a study and then it's unfinished for various reasons. And I looked at them all on the website for Massachusetts General Hospital. So there's not a lot of steam pushing these studies to grow into major research efforts. It's just not happening. I used to think these mind-body approaches, I lost my place. Sorry. I used to think, there we are, that mind-body connection was ignored because it takes more personal responsibility. And that's a good reason. We don't have time to teach that in a fast-paced clinic where we're putting out fires, where we're putting out the fires of acute illness, acute pain. You know, that takes precedence. Everything else, there's just no time for. I used to think the mind-body connection was ignored because it takes more personal responsibility. And a lot of approaches need to be applied daily, like meditation. You have to do it daily, 20 minutes minimum. It requires a change in someone's schedule in order to fit it in the busy day. It requires removing something out of your day, maybe something that's not beneficial to you at all. You have to kick it out of your day so you can make room for this new approach. Even Dr. Dean Ornish has to take his heart patients out of their living environments in order to have successful outcomes. They have to pack a bag and go to a retreat center. That's how hard You have to immerse yourself into these new approaches. And that reminds me of the book, Change or Die. I've written blog posts about that. You have to totally be immersed in the new behavior for it to work. Makes sense. It makes sense. Do people want to do it? Do people want to take time teaching other people how to do it? And here's the thing. With a medication, they take all these measurements, blood pressure measurements, lab measurements, because they want everything to be mathematical. But with an individual, with you, there's all these variables. They can't measure them all. They can't control them all. And so they don't want to go there because it's not going to look perfect initially. It's not going to be the magic bullet because you are that different from another person. Your nervous system is that unique that they cannot squish you down into a little compartment. And that's what it is. We can't manipulate the human body. We can't manipulate you. But we think we can with a drug. So, over time, I see what's really going on. People are unwilling to teach the mind-body concepts. It is deliberately swept under the rug. It cannot be presented alongside the medical model because they are so opposite of each other. And if we propose something so different, then the surgery drug route may actually be rejected. Uh-oh. We rely on that for income. What will we do now? Mind-body approaches cannot be patented. There is very little technology required. People getting healthy on their own will undermine this massive healthcare assembly line. Now, I've looked a lot at the watches that you wear and it takes different measurements. That's pretty cool. That's not a whole lot of technology. When I'm talking about major technology, something that you can't get your hands on, they want to control that. People getting healthy on their own will undermine the massive healthcare assembly line. And it's massive. It's massive to make it look like you're just a little puny person who can't figure things out. You can't take care of yourself. There's so many things out of your control. Disease happens. It happens. Get over it, accept it, and just let us take care of you. I sound terrible, but there's truth to it. There is truth to it. These are the things people whisper. We don't want to really talk about that. We don't want to. People will stop calling the medical interventions miracles when they realize their own bodies are the miracles. And I'm teaching people that they are great. Their bodies are great. Their bodies aren't making mistakes. So I'm asking people to totally redefine what their bodies are doing 24 hours a day. Really. Really. You're the miracle. The medical monopoly is not the miracle. And it's not a time management problem, as I mentioned above. Perhaps it seems too cumbersome in the disease model when we ask someone to take time away from their stress and their stress activities so they can focus on something else like meditation. We are almost done. Mind-body approaches are fantastically successful when separated from the disease model. So that pretty much sums it up. So if you want to understand the mind-body connection, you have to not be in the disease model. It's a totally different way of defining terms and looking at what the body is really doing. The real issue here is it is so widely successful that it is purposely removed from our medical model. And I decided this recently. I said, you know what? Nobody wants to know because nobody wants to really have healing. And I don't even use the word healing because healing means something is bad, something is good. We just don't want to admit the body can do amazing things. And it's doing amazing things 24 hours a day. We just damage it and drug it. So that is really where my mind has taken me. I just thought nobody wanted to take the time to do it. No, they just don't want to do it because it has the potential to redefine society, actually. If it doesn't exist in our thinking, then it won't replace the current offerings of drugs and surgery. We wouldn't want to knock over the medical, bureaucratic apple cart. Now, I understand we do need trauma care when people get real blown apart, accidents, car accidents, falls, major things. But a lot of this stuff is not necessary. That's all I'm saying. We don't need to go. Sorry, I'm back again. I had another person come in the office and I can't remember my last sentence. So here's 3 things I kind of summed up here. We can't take the extra time to teach people about their nervous systems. It disrupts the flow of the clinic. Maybe other clinics, but this is my goal, to teach people about their nervous systems. Number 2, when doing so, there's a high probability people will improve without the use of drugs. Once they understand how their body's working, they can partner with the brain and partner with the body. And then 3, people who feel more empowered will discard their fear and attachment to authoritative models. Now, why am I so negative and down on authoritative models? Because you should have options. And I know that other approach isn't going to go away. It's not going to go away anytime soon. But I want you to have options. I want you to make decisions that you feel empowered with, that you feel comfortable with. And we do want to take away the fear. Definitely take away that fear. But here's the thing, you need options. Otherwise, there's no freedom. You need choice. You should decide what you want to do. If there's only one choice, that doesn't mean it's the best choice. That doesn't mean it's good for you. And it takes away your empowerment. You should have choices. So the mind-body approaches require us to redefine disease because the approaches explain why the body is always correct. And I teach that in my office. I take the time and teach that. Everything the body does is correct. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's painful, and yes, even if it's going to kill you. That may sound odd, but if you're hemorrhaging profusely, if you're bleeding all over the floor, the body will do everything in its power to clot that blood. Sometimes it's not enough, and that's why we get stitches. So there's the balanced approach. But everything the body does is correct for the situation. I never wanted to duplicate the medical model. Why would I do that? Because you can go down the street and there's medical practitioners. I'm offering a different approach. Yes, I don't want to duplicate what's already out there. I want to perceive the body differently and offer that option. But meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Education does have its own agenda. So I have learned the medical model because it's everywhere in the U.S. Department of Education. And that's just the way it is. But you have the option. Do you want agenda care? Because they have an agenda. The Education Department is going to teach what it wants to teach. Do you want agenda care or do you want care customized to you? And that's where you need to have the choices. It took me a long time to get to this bottom line. but I'm finally realizing it at my age that that's where we're at. So I offer you the opportunity to reject agenda language, and I teach the other ways of looking at it. I teach you how to communicate the real language of body function. So I finally admitted that what I was looking for will never be taught in traditional ways. Fact of life. It's not going to be taught. In fact, I think it has to be, it's handed down generation to generation in other ways than the traditional ways. So I'm going outside of that social club. I'm creating my own path, and you're invited to be on your own path as well. Join me. So I'm lucky that I can do what I do as a chiropractor. No one can hide the benefits of chiropractic. It's there. We know what chiropractic does to the spine, to the brain, and to the body. We know what chiropractic does. It's cool. It's awesome. I don't want to diminish it. I don't want to reduce it. I want chiropractic to be available all the time. Unfortunately, sometimes our thinking is limited. Sometimes we are boxed in to the soul-sucking back pain treatment paradigm, but it's not going to last. I mean, it's not going to work. You're not going to put me into a soul-sucking box and stick with only one paradigm. There's a lot out there. There's options. Chiropractic is a mind-body reconnecting tool. It is unique, and I'm here to tell you about it. Free your brain, and you will free the invisible shackles on your body. Join me in a great adventure. So I've just read my blog posting and added a few nuances here and there. Thank you for sticking it out with me. I want you to have what you feel is the best for you, and I offer something different. Okay, we're done here. Check out the blog createpurpose.com. If you want to learn about Brain First Coaching, let me know. Just contact me. And remember, you are the miracle. Your body is the miracle. Your brain is the miracle. Celebrate that. And look for the next video. Thanks for watching.